Hey, Slick Talkers, thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. And I know that if you love this show, you'll also love my morning show called Good Morning Hospitality with my co hosts Michael Golden and Brandy Canali, as we spend 30 minutes every Monday morning to dive into the industry's top latest news and trending topics. So go check it out on wherever you find your podcasts at Good Morning Hospitality. And you can live stream with us on Monday mornings on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. Now, I hope you enjoy this episode.
Welcome to Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast where we discuss all things hospitality, hotels, and business. You can find us online at slicktalkthepodcast.com and on every podcast listening platform.
Welcome back to Slick Talk, everybody. This is Will Slickers, the Slick Talk Hospitality Podcast. Today I'm joined with a special guest named Bill Cates. Bill, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Will. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for being on the show. I think you're our most known, or at least more experienced, most known guest that we've had actually on the show. So I want to say thank you for that. So Bill, kind of talk to us about your background and what you do. This episode, we're going off of like referrals and just the overall humanization of hospitality along with marketing. So Bill, kind of dive into what you do.
Well, I'm a serial traveler. People ask me, hey, Bill, where are you from? I say Marriott, Hilton, you name it, not to leave anybody out, just that's where I am. And so I am a customer, a guest of many of the folks listening. But for the last 25 years, I've been helping businesses create more purposeful word of mouth, not just word of mouth for word of mouth's sake, but directed, purposeful to attract the right types of people, etc. Referrals and introductions. These days, we're focusing a lot on making sure we get introduced to people, especially on the convention meeting sales end of the thing, the spectrum, to make sure you get introduced to prospects. And so I've written a number of books. My most recent that's out now is Beyond Referrals. Mm-hmm. And it focuses on not just getting the referral, but getting the introduction, reaching out to the new prospect, even some sales skills to convert that prospect into a new client or customer. Because after all, the referral, word of mouth, you name it, that's not the end game. The end game is the new business, right? Or the repeat business. So that's what we focus on these days.
So how did you get into this, if you don't mind me asking? Like, what was the beginning step for you to really find and discover this method of referrals and just word of mouth and kind of making that introduction and new sale?
Yeah, real quick. I owned a book publishing company. I sold the business. I was looking for the next thing to do, and a buddy of mine said, you should be a professional speaker and writer. You'd be good at it. And I go, great, what's that? And I didn't know anything about the world of speaking, writing. The thought of writing a book was very foreign to me at the time. But I slowly got into it, and I hung around other people who did that. And that's one thing I've learned, that when you want to do something, whatever it is, find other people who are doing it and hang around and learn from them. And so I became kind of a generic sales speaker for a while, and I was looking for more focus. And we know that generally speaking, the more narrow our focus in terms of what we're looking for, the better. And this idea of referrals, word of mouth, introductions came to me as I was listening to somebody else's audio tapes. It was way back when they actually had audio tapes. And so I said, that's what I'm going to write my book on. That's what I'm going to talk about. And so 25 years later, I'm still focused on it.
Wow. So was anybody like Tony Robbins a big inspiration during this time for you, or is this kind of just something that you really, like you said, just decided to focus on?
No, Tony was definitely an influence. Tony's great at what he does, obviously, in a lot of respects. Before Tony, there was a guy named Zig Ziglar. Anybody listening old enough may remember Zig Ziglar. And my girlfriend at the time made a little, you know how you used to have people's names on their desk, a little plaque, something that says person. Well, she made one for me. It said Little Zig. I'm nothing like Zig Ziglar. I'm not a rah, rev 'em up kind of guy. I mean, I'm energetic, but nonetheless, I just really like that idea of, I've always been a lifelong learner. I do believe in improving myself, my awareness and my capabilities. And so it just became and I'm an old rock and roll drummer, musician. And for me, it was a combination of entertainment and performance, and I get to learn, and then I get to try what I learn, and then I get to teach it to others, and hopefully they benefit from that. So it's kind of took everything I've been doing in my life and brought it to a head.
Well, it's pretty, honestly, for me as a young entrepreneur and hotelier, it's pretty exciting to kind of hear that, because I feel like the same way for me, I invest in myself, and like you also said, hang out with the people that are doing the stuff that you want to do.
Exactly.
I find that, repetition and kind of not, I wouldn't say mimicking, but shadowing and observing and constantly applying that really does take a major effect on your attitude, the way things start lining up, and you start making connections with people, like you were talking about referrals and stuff. So with the referral coach and the marketing side of this, when you're talking referrals, are you talking like the email connections or the networking events? Like, what type of ways do you find referrals and build those connections?
Yeah, they're really, it's all of the above. So my very first book, Get More Referrals Now. Get More Referrals Now. Yeah, that's the book. It was a while ago. It's still out, by the way. It's still a good book. But so we focused on four main areas. We focused on customer service, in your case, guest service, guest engagement, guest relationship. And we should talk about this engagement concept, because it's pretty important. And so we focused on that. Why? Because you have to be referable. You as an individual, the hotel, the experience, everything has to be referable, has to be, the word remarkable. What does remarkable means? Worthy of remark. So we have to be worthy of remark. And then I also had a whole section on networking, going to events. I can be extroverted when I need to be on a call like this. When I'm giving a speech, certainly I can be very
What's up, everybody? If you've gotten this far into the episode of Slick Talk, the Hospitality Podcast, then you are amazing, and thank you so much for tuning in. We want to send you two places really quickly. If you can, check out the show notes and click the hospitality.fm link. Check out all of our other shows on the podcast network. And don't forget, if you have someone that you want to hear on the podcast, then fill out the guest fill out form so that way we can get them on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy another episode of Slick Talk, the Hospitality Podcast.